What up, party people? It's your girl Ellie B coming at you live from my kitchen, just because my soup is cooking and I don't want it to burn. But Egypt vlog will catch us up, I think. I forgot to mention that I did a play here in Saudi. I put a picture on my Instagram. That's not the point. This Egypt vlog should catch us up to now, and then the next vlog you'll see is post my half iron, which is in like 4 days. No, yeah, 4 days. And then after that, I'm going to Romania with Adam and Myers. So the next vlog will be about that. Let's dive into Egypt. There might even be some guest stars. So let's dive in. Okay, so first things first, Robert and I arrived in Egypt the day before Mom and Dad. I have my calendar, so I remember. So this is for you, Lainey. We arrived in Egypt on Friday, April 17th. So Robert and I got in like half day, 2 o'clock-ish. Went straight to our Airbnb, kind of got set up, took a much needed nap, hardcore nap. Just kind of wandered around and prepped for Mom and Dad to get there. Got some waters, got some snacky snacks for me, and just kind of made sure we had mapped out like where we wanted to go. I'm sure we did something else, but it escapes me. I know we walked to the fancy hotel, Four Seasons maybe, and like got good food. Like I knew there was a steak there I wanted, so got a good meal. Mom and Dad arrived on Saturday the 18th at like 4:20. So that morning, on Saturday morning, I needed to run a 10K as I was training for my half iron, which is in 4 days. Hence my bright pink nails. Everything I'm wearing is pink. My pink kit. So I needed to go on a run. Robert's like, well, I'll just come. Like, we'll go to this area. We Googled it. It said like, oh yeah, go to this Zamalek or something. I don't know what it's called. My pronunciations of things are horrible. So we went to this place that had a bit more, like there was a sidewalk. It didn't feel as aggressively urban, I guess. There were like trees and sidewalks, and it's like a little island in the Nile. So I'm starting to run, and I've stretched, and I start running, and within like 200 meters of me running, I turn around a corner, and there are hundreds of people running at me. Hundreds. Men, women, all of it. So they are sprinting my direction. I'm like, oh my what? So I just kind of merge into them and end up running like 8 of my 10 kilometers with them, and then kind of just did a little bounce back. But Robert's texting like, oh my gosh, did you see all those people? You should join them. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing? It would be impossible to miss the amount of people that are running right now. And it was like, it was so nice because every time I would run by a group of women, they'd be like, woohoo! And I'm like, thank you. Like, yeah, woohoo to us. Like, go women. I had my backpack with my water and everything. I looked like a total nerd. So I did my 10K. Then Mom and Dad showed up. We met them at the airport. So Robert and I are sitting there very anxiously waiting for Mom and Dad. I mean, Robert's obviously just excited, but I'm like, Mom and Dad in my region where I live, like, you know, North Africa, Middle East, MENA. So I'm like, yay, here they come. So they land, and we can watch them come through security, and I'm going, come on. So we finally get up with them, throw our stuff in the car, take them to the Airbnb, drop our stuff off. Then we head out because we're going to eat Lebanese at one of my favorite restaurants there. So we popped down, had some Lebanese, took Felucca, which is, actually I don't know if we did it that night or not, but we were supposed, like one of the nights we rode a boat on the Nile. There's some good pictures I'll post of Dad and I like looking out. We're on the bow, or like looking out or whatever. Dad made fun of Mom because she called the ropes strings. She was like, be careful with those strings. And Dad was like, this is a rope. This is a real rope. So it was really nice. It was at sunset, so it was like perfect weather. It wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, like a nice breeze over the Nile. So that was Saturday. I went to bed early because, you know, got a big day on Sunday. So Sunday, we started very early. We went to the Mina house, which is the hotel that Robert and Adam and the girls and I, no, Adam and the girl, yeah, and Robert. Adam and the girls? It's where we stayed with Adam and the girls for one night. And it's where Robert and I stayed for our first time in Egypt. It's a Marriott. So we had breakfast there so we could have breakfast under the pyramids. Then we went to the pyramids, saw the Sphinx, saw the Grand Pyramids, did a camel ride. Dad nearly fell off the camel because it just like falls forward when it goes to get down. Mom was extremely uncomfortable on her camel. I don't really like camels. I don't like that they turn around and look at you. It's unnatural for it to be like facing me. But we got to ride it. Dad got his head wrapped in a little thing, and I had my LPJ t-shirt. And then we went from there to the Grand Egyptian Museum, the gym. And we spent a good amount of time in the gym. We got to see King Tut's bits and bobs. He was missing Fun fact, he was not there. But we got to see the things that were buried with him. We got to see all the history of all of frickin' Egypt, which left us with more questions. Every time I go to that museum, I have more questions. We saw some boats that were getting rebuilt, which was super cool. We went and we ate lunch there at the museum, which was good. It could have been better, but we were also like kind of in a crunch, so we were like, let's just eat here and go. Because then we went to the other museum, the Civilization Museum, to see the mummies. That's my favorite museum. I like it for many reasons. One, the mummies, obviously, but also because it starts with like the beginning of civilization in the region and then like moves around the room all the way to like modern Bedouin tribes of the region. So it's really nice to get to see like the first fossilized human bone all the way to like, here is a burqa from a Bedouin tribe. And you're like, well, that's nice. Here are like some tingles. So I love that museum. And it's short. Like you can be in the mummies forever, but you're not overwhelmed with all the information. It's all like very palatable, very concrete. Anyway, it's my favorite. Mom was tweaking because Ramses II is in there. You get to see his body. There's so many mummies. A lot of the information had Mom and I doing some mental math going, he was the brother of the son of his sister, and he married his dad's second wife's daughter, which was his mom. Like, it was a lot of family math. This might be a good time for a little guest star.
So you asked me to do a video about my favorite thing about the Egypt trip, and you already know what the answer is. The fact that I was this close to Ramses II, which is Moses' brother, if you didn't know. In case people don't know that. Yeah, that's Moses' brother. So yeah, like he hung out with Moses and like all the stories. Yeah, he was there. That pretty freaking cool. Climbing down into the old pyramids was really, really cool. The whole bats and thinking I might die and the fact that my legs didn't want to work 2 days later was hard. But that was really, really cool. Seeing the pyramids of Giza, super cool. Luxor was probably one of the coolest places ever. The lunch we ate there, chef's kiss, so fantastic. And yeah, all the crypts in the Valley of the Kings, crazy stuff. Dr. Mo, unbelievable, the best tour guide ever. So I don't know, it was all awesome. Yeah, minus Ellie getting bit by a dog and having to get rabies shots, but everything else was great. 10 out of 10. If you have Ellie and Robert showing you around, best trip.
Isn't my mom just the cutest? So she loved Ramses. That was like her whole thing, was like the whole time we were there. So she was like, so Ramses was here? This is him? He knew Moses? I'm like, yes, he knew Moses, which is super cool. It blew my mind the first time I saw it too. Honestly, it blows my mind every time. But then there's also this really beautiful mummy who still has like gorgeous, like flowing auburn hair. And I'm just furious because it's so beautiful. And I'm out here like a rat looking, and she looks gorgeous, and she's been dead for freaking 2 millennia. So we saw the mummies, naturally. The 20th, on Monday, we drove out to the Red Pyramids. we tried to drive out to the Red Pyramids. It was supposed to be like a 45-minute drive, and it was like an hour and 45 minutes because we missed a turn because the instructions were very unclear. So we finally got out there, and our sweet driver, we were like, you should just come with us into the pyramids. Like, have you been in? And he was like, no. And we were like, well, this is only supposed to be like a 45-minute day for you. Like, you should come into the pyramids with us. So we had this man climbing into the pyramids. You heard what Mom was saying. So we're all climbing in these pyramids. You climb into 2, and you get to see them from a distance. And you like hike up all these stairs to the top, like to the middle. And then you climb all the way down below the earth. And then you go back up so that you're like in the pyramid. The second one was the hardest because it's much deeper into like the earth, so you're going down and you cannot see the bottom when you start, and when you start coming back up you can't see the top. So you're like in the depths of this pyramid for like roughly 2 hours. You have to go all the way down and up, and then all the way back down and back up. And Mom at one point was like, this is really hard. I'm like, yeah, it's not easy, like I'm also struggling. And Dad was like sucking wind, like, and there are these bats and they start flying around. Mom's like, I'm getting out of here, Robert, you're in charge of it. And she's like running down the stairs. It's deep. I don't think people anticipate how far down you have to go and then how far back up you have to go. Also, as you're doing it, you're realizing like these people did this math, like the math to do this and have it be airtight. The smells were weird, but it was super cool. I also really like the Bennett pyramids. I've been in them 3 times, and all 3 times I've been like, what? It's so deep, even though I know exactly how deep it is. And all of us were very sore. Like, couldn't use our legs very much. But it was delightful. So then we went to Coptic Cairo so that Mom could see where Jesus and them hid in the grotto and like where they lived, I guess. Like Jesus and his mom and dad lived for a while when they were hiding in Egypt. So we got to see the Coptic churches, and we got a little tour, a little information about that, and got to touch some stuffs. Yeah, that was, we like wove in and out of some alleyways, and so Robert and I were like, this is like kind of what Jerusalem was like you're weaving through these really old streets, and there's these walls and everything. So that was nice. Then we took a really late night flight. This is where we departed with Robert. So it was really nice to have Robert in Cairo because A, he speaks Arabic, and 2, he knows all the information. So we just followed him around. But then he had to go back for a work thing. So Mom, Dad, and I, he flew back to Riyadh. Mom, Dad, and I flew to Luxor, Egypt. So we got there, landed at like 2:10 in the morning, very tired. Took the hotel came and picked us up and took us to the hotel, obviously. Had this really cute room where we're all together, family style, because I was like, there's a parents and a child are coming to stay. That's me, I'm the child. So I'm in a twin bed next to Mom and Dad, like, hey guys. We share rooms the rest of the trip because I'm not paying for a room by myself. So we're in this hotel together. And the next morning we wake up and Dr. Mo comes to get us. He is phenomenal. If anyone goes to Egypt, please, and goes to Luxor specifically, please let us know. Dr. Mo is incredible. Robert and I highly recommend him. We've used him 3 times. He's great, and he's very knowledgeable, and his English is spot on. He's awesome. So Dr. Mo and his driver pick us up, and we go straight to Valley of the Kings. And let me tell you, Valley of the Kings, did we go straight to Valley of the Kings? At some point we went to Valley of the Kings, and that's where all the mummies were. And some of them have been grave robbed. King Tut is really only important, like archaeologically, because his grave wasn't disturbed. So like his tomb was still intact. Which if you look at pictures at how they found it, I'm sitting there going, you guys did not pack this room well. Like, this is a tomb, and it just kind of looks like people were like haphazardly throwing chariot pieces. Like, it was not my thing. But we went and we got to go into a bunch of different tombs, and they're deep in there, and you get to see the hieroglyphics all over the walls, and you get to see all the carvings and the paint and the sarcophagi that are too heavy to get out. And so and we learned in the Gem Museum that it's like they like dig the hole, and then they build the outer casing, or they build a little one, and then they build over it or something. I don't remember exactly. I remember being like, what? Because you get to see King Tut's different layers in the Gem Museum, which is pretty fascinating. A lot of the other layers have been damaged of the other people, obviously. And Ramses, as Mom was saying, Ramses' tomb, he had like 110 children that were supposed to be buried in the ground, and then they were like, none of them were there, which begs the question, where are they? Like, did the British eat them too? Anyway, Valley of the Kings, then Temple of Hatshepsut, which is delightful. She's so cool. If you haven't given her a Google, give her a Google. Or Dr. Mo would call her hot chicken soup to help you practice saying her name, Hatshepsut. She's great. She's a very knowledgeable, very strong woman, capable. A pharaoh, obviously. She was super great. So they've been rebuilding her temple, and he was telling us about the different, like, okay, her temple used to be here, and then it got covered, and they used the stones for this. And it always blows my mind historically when they reuse stuff. So like they come in and they're like, oh, I need some rocks for my new temple, and I don't worship that person anymore. So they go and just like take a bunch of rocks. I'm like, oh my God. So he's like, oh yeah, and those marbles are from this, and that's from here. I'm like in Turkey, there's a column that has a Medusa head on it because they just like brought it from Rome. I'm like, what do you mean? Anyway, Hatshepsut's temple was super cool, lots of stairs, and we were still very sore. And then we did Karnak and Luxor temple. Luxor is really beautiful. We ended on Luxor. So Karnak is really large, and there's still kind of unearthing parts of it because it went through like so many different, like the wall became a Roman wall, and then they used it for this, and they took some stones and the sphinxes. So it was really nice to see. They had originally dug out a way for the Nile to like come to Karnak temple, and so there was docks, and there was ports, and there were places to put boats in, and like boat ramps and stuff. So Dad was of course having the time of his life with that, and was like, what, look at these boat ramps. And then we went inside, and it was Ramses II kind of like finalized the temple and like made it really fancy. So of course then Mom was tweaking because Ramses was there and had walked there, and Moses' brother had walked there. So Mom had a lot of questions about Moses. Dr. Mo was very patient and was like, well, you know, there are other people who did things. And Mom's like, yes, but Ramses? Like, what about Moses? And then Dad, for some reason, was asking questions like he actually didn't know what words he was saying. So he'd be like, from when was to now, yes, long time? And I'm like, what are you saying? And Dr. Mo's asking me, and I'm like, I'm just translating English to English at this point. But also Dr. Mo had a habit of saying, like, if you look over here, and then he'd turn fully around, and I swear he was whispering, because all three of us would be like, what did he say? What did he say? We'd be leaning in. So then I'm having to listen as hard as I can and tell Dad and Mom what he's saying, because I can barely hear him because he's facing that way and walking quickly. But the temples were real. I mean, the freaking pillars are huge. If you've been, you know, I mean, they're massive. And I think Mom and Dad, the scale of it, and I know for a fact Dad, because every like couple yards, he'd be like, gosh, I mean, they're just so big. And it really is, it's jarring. Like, you see a castle and you're like, wow, that castle's big. It's a castle. The temple is only for worship. There was nothing else it did. Nothing. It wasn't defensive. People wouldn't flee there. People didn't live there. I mean, like, it was only to worship, like, a couple times a year, which is just crazy. Like, Dad was tweaking. I was tweaking. We were all tweaking. It was a lot of information. But Dr. Mo had so many good things. Then in between Karnak and Luxor, in between going to see the two temples, we had lunch, which is where Mom's favorite lunch was. It was in this, like, roadside location. And it was good. It was like random foods. Like, I couldn't even tell you what it was. I'm pretty sure there was a chicken dish. We had eaten, Mom, Dad, Robert, and I had eaten someplace for lunch on like Monday. That was like super gross. Like, Dad and I had ordered like a chicken, we thought it was like a chicken roast, and I don't know what it was, but it wasn't good. But the lunch in Luxor was delish. And then we went to an alabaster like factory, I guess, or like workspace. And so we bought some alabaster stuffs. I bought a little crocodile. His name is Nile the crocodile. Crocodile, as it were. And Dad got to practice. He was very mad that we didn't take a video of him, like, turning the thing that hollows out the alabaster. But we were just living in the moment. We were hung up and hanging out, you know? So, Valley of the Kings, everything was great. We had breakfast on the morning of Wednesday. And it was delicious, and it overlooked the Nile and the sunrise. And Dad was, of course, like, why are we leaving? And I'm like, that's a you thing. You wanted to go to Milan. So our flights were really late. Oh, other way around. Our flights are really late. So we ate breakfast the first day, whatever. We ate breakfast on the 21st. Then our flights were really late on the 21st to go back to Cairo. And we stayed in an airport hotel near Cairo or near the airport, so that we could just get up and go. Because I think their flight was at like 9:30, mine was at 11. And then they went to Milan. While on the trip, we were walking in this like nice little downtown area, and these puppies were like getting loose from a yard. And they ran, Robert just said, Garden City. They were running up to us, and they were so cute. And I had made the poor decision, Robert and I both had made the poor decision, based off of our journeys last time, of like our feet getting really sweaty and then me getting blisters. And I had my race coming up. I was like, well, I'll just wear open-toed shoes when I know we're not going anywhere dangerous. Like, obviously, if we're going somewhere where there's going to be metal or whatever, but we were just going to dinner, and we were like maybe going to walk around a very nice part of town. Well, the puppies ran and played and were trying to bite at my skirt, and instead it bit my foot, and then it scratched and or bit Robert's foot. And then we went to asked somebody what to do, and they were like, rabies, you got to get a rabies shot, which that's not great. That's not fun. They're not fun. You have to do like 7 of them, and nobody knows what's going on when you have to do them. So had to get a rabies shot. Decided to get the rabies shot while we were at a really cool dinner that was on like a rooftop. And Robert has a coworker, or former coworker, who is from Cairo. So she was like, well, I'll take you to the hospital and you can get your first shot now. I'm like, okay. So we go, and the hospital has like no windows, like window panes. And there's a big fence around it, and people are yelling, and there are people without shoes on inside. And I was like, no, not gonna do that. I'll just wait till I go back to Saudi. So we did wait till we went back to Saudi, and it was like a 9-hour day in the Saudi public hospital ER, because there's one hospital in all of Saudi Arabia, in all of Riyadh, that has the rabies vaccine. So, and then we got the joys of multi-city rabies vaccines, because I got one in Riyadh, I got a couple in Riyadh, I got one in Hickory, I got one in Colombia, I got more in Riyadh. So lucky me, I have a variety of rabies vaccines flowing within me. I also had my tetanus shot like 4 weeks ago. So as my friend says, my immune system is elite right now. But that's pretty much how Egypt went. You heard from Mom, and you'll hear from Dad just now as well. Maybe you'll even hear from Robert. Who knows? Obviously, pictures at the end. if I think of anything else, I'll add it.
So I think my favorite part, which is pretty much my favorite part every time I go to Egypt, is I very much enjoy going inside of the Bent Pyramid and the Red Pyramid, which are the ones like further out in Dashur, which is the ancient city of Memphis. And it's just really, you feel, every time I go in, I just totally feel like Indiana Jones. And it's really fun to get to see people go in and like get hit with the wall of absolute stench that is just stagnant 4,000-year-old air. And then like crawling through the tunnels and climbing up the ladders and everything is really cool. I mean, I was a little worried that we might have to do some CPR down there. Looking at you, Ben. But we didn't, and we got to see some bats, and then we got to come back out, and yeah, it's just it's great family fun all around.
All right, Ellie B, you asked me my favorite part about our awesome trip to Egypt. Certainly seeing my favorite oldest daughter, very soon to be 70.3 mile finisher, and my favorite son-in-law was the highlight of the trip for me. It's spending time with you guys, but being in Egypt actually was just overwhelming. The history of everything, the scale of what was built with or without technology that they had at the time. You know, you're looking at a massive structure, stone columns, taller than anything we've got around here, that are 3,000 years older than Notre Dame. Actually, when Notre Dame was even started. So just the sheer history, very humbling to walk in the footsteps and see places where that long ago people actually went. Super sweet, very cool seeing, having the religious aspect of it, you know, being on the river where Moses floated down in a basket, seeing the body of Moses' brother Ramses II, just the sheer history of it all, and then watching you and Robert navigate the Arab world and speak the languages and know the people that you do and the places to go and what to do. It was all very humbling and very much overwhelming. But I would certainly say highlights of the trip outside of seeing the two of you guys was would certainly be just the overall history of everything and everything that happened. Love you. Great trip. Thank you all for everything you did to coordinate it.